Intermittent fasting is something that I talk about a lot on my channel for good reason. The biggest benefit is it makes you lose a lot of fat, which is why a lot of people are gravitated towards it. But if you don't do it properly, you might be unknowingly sabotaging your own weight loss efforts. And nobody wants that. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about 7 things you should never do while intermittent fasting so you can get to your results faster. And make sure you stay tuned until the end because you might be unknowingly doing some of the things that I'm about to mention here. All right, let's dive in. What's going on, guys? Carlo Macapinlac here from newbiefitnessacademy.com. I help busy professionals lose weight so they can feel more confident and get the most out of their lives. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Okay, the first thing that you should never do while intermittent fasting is just eating whatever you want. That's a big no-no. We're gonna start with that because this is a big one that prevents people from losing weight, period. They go to town after they're done fasting, they freestyle their diet, they eat whatever they want, they break their fast with like a donut, pizza, they eat fast food. I mean, they don't really adjust their diet and they expect to get results simply because they fasted for a few hours. Listen, it does not work like that. And there's a saying out there, right, that you can't outwork a bad diet. I'm talking about exercise here. Well, it's the exact same thing. You cannot outfast a bad diet. It's pretty easy to wipe away all the benefits that you just got from doing a fast by eating shitty food. Fasting does not give you the green light to eat as if you're in a hot dog eating contest. You know what I mean? And that should be common sense, right? The problem is it's not so common for a lot of people. You want to focus on eating a nice, nutritious meal once you break your fast. You want to revolve your diet around plants and animals. And there's a time and place to eat, you know, pizza, pasta, bread, cookies, ice cream, and all those things. I'm not saying that you should never eat those things ever again. I'd be a hypocrite if I said that I didn't eat those things, but there's a time and place for them. You feast on special occasions. 90% of the time, eat whole, mostly unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods, and then the other 10% is when you treat yourself. You can't eat like an asshole after a fast. Number 2, you're eating too much, and this includes healthy foods. Listen, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. If you think otherwise, I will argue with you until the cows come home. And fasting makes getting in a caloric deficit much easier because you're eating your calories in a smaller window, especially if you're doing like a warrior style diet where you have a 20-hour fasting window and only a 4-hour eating window. And you can even take this a step further if you just do 1 meal a day. It's very easy to put yourself in a caloric deficit if you follow those 2 intermittent fasting protocols. That's why they're so effective. And then if you're trying to gain weight, you want to be in a caloric surplus. If you're trying to maintain your weight, then you want to eat at your maintenance calories. But again, we're trying to lose weight here, so you want to focus on eating at a caloric deficit every single day. That's Fat Loss 101. If you eat too much cheese, too much nuts, too much fruit, for example, you're not gonna lose weight. And fruit especially is an extremely insidious food when it comes to being healthy because of its high sugar, and I'm talking about its high fructose content. You just have to remember that our ancestors ate fruit seasonally to fatten up for winter. What makes you any different? The problem is fruit is available all year round, 365 days out of the year. And for some reason, it still gets a health halo from a lot of people. Listen, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to limit your intake of fruit to just avocados and berries. That is it. The rest of them, you might as well eat a bag of Skittles. It's the exact same thing. Like for example, if you're doing a 16-hour fast, it's still really easy to eat a lot of calories in that 8-hour eating window. That's why it's extremely important to track your calories, especially at the beginning. And I use a free app called MyFitnessPal to do this. If you've never heard of it before, then I'm gonna link to one of my videos somewhere at the top here. Number 3, you should never diet during your eating window. Now, this is the other side of eating too much, is that you're eating too little during your eating window. You know, you want to shortcut the process. You think that doubling down by really limiting your calories during your eating window will get you results twice as fast. Now, I have to admit, this will work at the beginning. It will, especially if you're barely eating anything. You're eating like celery sticks during your eating window. You will lose weight, but it's not sustainable. Like, you can't keep eating like that for the rest of your life. You have to play the long game here. You want to do something that is sustainable long term. This also chips away at your willpower. And when your willpower is gone, you'll most likely binge. And you don't want that, right? You want to have a good relationship with food. Listen, you're already restricting your eating window, right? To like, let's say an 8-hour eating window, 20-hour eating window, or even just 1 meal. You don't want to restrict your food on top of that. Again, you want to eat whole, mostly unprocessed, single ingredient, nutrient dense foods. You want to revolve your food around plants and animals because that's how we evolved to eat. You want to avoid processed carbs. You want to avoid added sugar. If you eat those things during your eating window, you will lose weight consistently. There is absolutely no need to limit your calories during your eating window. And the other thing too is if you eat the foods that I just mentioned, it's actually gonna help your fasting periods because you're satiated from your last meal. Number 4, jumping into it right away. Especially if you're new to intermittent fasting, you see its amazing benefits and you jump into a 7-day fast right away. Now, some people can do this. My mom, for example, I did a 7-day fast with her in one of my other videos and she absolutely killed it. But for the majority of people, if they've never fasted before and then they do a 7-day fast, they are gonna fall flat on their faces. They're gonna have a miserable time doing it and they're probably gonna quit. And then they say that fasting's too hard, they get headaches, they were hungry, they were miserable, and it just didn't work for them. Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. Listen, I always say that your baseline, especially if you're new to this, is just eat 3 meals a day. If you graze on food all day, stop that. Just eat 3 meals a day. Once you're used to that, that is the only time when you even want to start thinking about, intermittent fasting. Number 5, eating anything at all during your fast. Listen, the whole point of fasting is taking a break from eating. And I didn't think that I was gonna have to put this on my list because I thought that was pretty obvious, but some blogs and even some experts out there say that you can eat 50 calories of food and you're still gonna stay fasted. No, that is completely wrong. Completely inaccurate. Because most of the time, the foods that you end up eating that are low calories are, low calorie, highly processed foods. They come in those little mini packs and it says 100 calories, so you only eat half of that and you think you're okay. You're not. Listen, the whole point of fasting is to moderate your insulin levels and trigger a lot of hormonal and physiological benefits in your body. And that only happens when you don't eat completely, like zero. Because every time you eat, your insulin goes up. Every time you don't eat, your insulin goes down. And that is the only time where you get to access your own body fat for energy, which means that high insulin blocks fat burning, which means that every time you eat, no matter how small it is, like 50 calories, you're breaking your fast. And it takes 8 to 12 hours minimum for you to even start experiencing some of the benefits that I just mentioned. Again, which means that even if you nibble on 50 calories of food, you're breaking your fast and that resets that 8 to 12 hour clock every single time. You are getting zero benefits of fasting if you're somebody who eats these 50 calorie portions of food. The only exception to this, okay, there's one exception, is if you add a little bit of cream to your coffee. I mean, I prefer that you take it black, but if you add a little bit of cream, it's not the end of the world. The reason being is that pure fat has little to no effect on your insulin levels, which means that even if you add a little bit of cream, it's still gonna keep you in a fat burning state. Now, one more thing that I have to add to this point, because it somehow gets a free pass, especially for those people who work out first thing in the morning or in the afternoon, and they think that they need to drink, a protein shake after their workout. Otherwise, their muscles will start withering away or whatever. They still believe in that post-workout eating window or whatever it's called. They basically believe that you need to drink a protein shake after a workout. That is not true. You don't need a protein shake after your workout. You're gonna be fine. The problem with whey protein is that it is extremely insulinogenic, which means that it triggers a high insulin response. And most of the time, they're also sweetened with sucralose or artificial sweeteners. So that's a nice double whammy for you. Listen, for the average person that goes to the gym, you're active, you do not need to drink protein shakes. I know supplement companies will hate me for saying that, but you don't need to drink protein shakes, period. I always say that, would you rather drink your protein or eat a piece of steak? And we're extremely over-proteinized as a society. I don't know if over-proteinized is the word, but we're gonna use it. You actually need way less protein than you think because your body is super smart when it comes to recycling old proteins and turning it into new ones. Okay, back to our topic. Next, number 6, you should never drink Diet Coke or Diet Soda or anything that's branded as a 0-calorie drink. Period. And this just adds to my last point, right? Is that some people think that diet soda gets a free pass because it's 0 calories. That doesn't mean anything. Yes, it has 0 sugar, sure, but it's sweetened with artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners trigger an insulin response. If you trigger an insulin response, you've just broken your fast. And the best way to explain this is that diet soda specifically triggers the cephalic phase response in your body, which means that your body thinks there's food coming in. And one of those responses is a rise in insulin levels. The problem is you're not eating. So your body gets all confused and it sends even stronger hunger signals after you drink this magic can of 0-calorie soda. This concept, by the way, was proven a long time ago in the 19th century. It's called the Pavlovian theory. If you've never heard of it before, a Russian scientist ran a study in which he rang a bell every time he fed his dogs. Pretty soon, just ringing a bell made the dogs salivate. The exact same thing happens when you drink diet soda. You're literally torturing yourself. The other thing about diet soda, why you should just completely delete it from your diet, is that diet soda has been directly linked to obesity. And the biggest reason for this is that diet soda destroys your gut microbiome. And just think about it this way. Do you know anybody who's lost a ton of weight and they said, oh, I lost so much weight because I drank diet soda? No. Usually the people that need to lose weight the most are the ones that drink this stuff. And that is just a bad combination. Number 7. Do not put yourself in harm's way. What I mean by that is don't go grocery shopping. Try not to schedule a lunch meeting when you're on a fast. Try not to put yourself in a surrounding where there's food available to you if you can help it. There's a saying out there that, you should not go grocery shopping when you're hungry. It's the exact same thing. Don't go grocery shopping when you're fasting. And this goes back to the Pavlovian theory and the triggering of the cephalic phase response in your body. You're literally torturing yourself. And I know that this can't always be the case, but if you can help it, if you can avoid surrounding yourself with food, it's gonna make your life so much easier. Number 8, I know I said I'm only gonna give you 7, but I'm all about giving value. And I had to add this because this is a big one. It's that you're not giving intermittent fasting enough time to work its magic. You're not patient enough. Think about it this way. Think of fasting like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you work that muscle, the better you get at it. And think about it this way. When you first went to the gym, you were not good. You're not strong. It took you some time to develop those muscles, right? It's the exact same thing with fasting. And I always say that there are levels to this, okay? Let's use breakfast, for example. If you've been eating breakfast all your life, it's gonna come as a complete shock to your body if you delete it right away. You are going against a lifetime of habits. If you're used to eating first thing in the morning, there are certain things that you need to do first, like maybe just delete carbs from your breakfast. You know what I mean? And I always say that, what do you think is more satiating? Breakfast cereal or bacon and eggs? So delete the breakfast cereal, eat more fat and protein, right? Eat more bacon and eggs. Next, you wanna adjust your breakfast feeding time, right? Let's say you eat breakfast at 7, see if you can eat it at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and so on. Once you're used to that, is the only time that you want to start thinking about skipping breakfast completely. Or I don't know, maybe you can just eat breakfast for lunch. Listen, give this a solid 30 days before you even make any judgment whether it works for you or it doesn't. Listen, it didn't take you a week to put on all the weight that you're trying to lose. What makes you think that you're gonna lose it all after just a week of fasting? You have to give it some time to work its magic. And if you avoid all the mistakes that I mentioned in this video, then you're definitely gonna stack the odds of success for you, not against you. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because let's be honest, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach and turned it into a six-pack without going on a crazy diet or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave me a comment below if you have any questions about this video. All right, thanks for watching. Virtual high five.